Hi everyone again, and welcome to our webinar on user onboarding tips from SaaS Experts. I am Lucine, the Demand Generation Manager at UserPilot, and today we have two amazing panelists with me, Karapet Gyumjibashyan and Mario Araujo. So, Karapet, Mario, thank you again for joining me today. Would you please take a moment to introduce yourself and maybe share a brief summary of your background with the audience?
Yeah, sure. Shall I go first? And then
Sure, go ahead.
yeah, I'm Karapet. I'm now currently leading the product at Krisp. And I have an engineering background. I came from, designing microelectronic chips, memories, CPUs and stuff like that. And then moved into product and love every bit of it. Now we're working at Krisp, removing noises and making meetings better. And I'm super excited to be here and talk growth and onboarding together with Mario.
Thanks, Karapet. That was very impressive. I didn't know you are coming from engineering. How did you make that decision to move to product?
Oh yeah, I love engineering and I love technology, but I love many other things as well, such as design, business, and thinking about problems and solving problems for the customers. So, product is the natural place where somebody like
Yeah,
me have naturally gravitated towards, and that's where I
something
ended.
in between. Yeah. Thanks, Karapet. Let's hear from Mario.
Yeah, sure. Happy to be here. Thanks everybody for joining. I'm Mario. I am currently a growth advisor or interim leader. So that's what I do for a number of companies. I'm currently the head of product growth for a couple of companies, and I advise a handful of others. In a very hands-on, the things that you're going to see here in onboarding. I've been in growth, product growth, as they call it now, since like 5-6 years. Before they were calling it product growth, I must have been doing this for like 10-12 years or something like that. I'm also a software engineer, or I also come from engineering background, like a software engineering, and I moved to the other side, which is growth and marketing a while back, as I just said. So yeah, I love to geek out on the little details, and also work on more high level stuff like strategy and all that fun stuff.
Very impressive. Thanks, Mario, for
Uh,
introducing
I
yourself.
Yeah, I would say
Yeah.
that I am using Krisp, and they did not pay me to say this for this call, and I'm using a virtual background, so you don't see kids running and hear them yelling in a little bit when they get home.
Yeah, that's very cool. I noticed our virtual backgrounds. It's cool.
That's cool. So we're gonna be testing Krisp during this call as well to see how it works.
Oh, it does.
Perfect. So today we are going to talk about user onboarding, one of the most crucial aspects of any SaaS business. And we will cover 10 tips and tricks for a successful onboarding process that will help you, that will help our users to retain their customers and increase customer satisfaction as well. A little housekeeping before we get started. I would like to let everyone know that this session is being recorded and the recording will be shared after. And additionally, the presentation materials used in this session will also be shared. So there is no need to take any notes. And without any further ado, let's dive right in. Okay, let me change the slide. Okay, so our first tip is making the sign-up process frictionless. So the sign up page is the gateway to your product. And if designed poorly, it could negatively affect your user experience and discourage visitors from trying your product. So I took Krisp has a perfect example of a simple sign up page. So Karapet, I think we all want to hear from you at this point. How did you decide to just require an email for the sign up? Like, how did you come to that idea?
Yeah, sure. I think that's the core idea about the onboarding, right? You have to make it as simple as possible so that to remove friction. And what is friction in terms of sign up? It's to making users do something, and typing especially is a difficult feat, right? So you want to reduce typing and make it as little as possible. So the only real thing that so we removed everything, and the only thing that we left there is the email that we kind of need. And if you don't want to type in your email, you can just go straight to Google, right? Because signing with Google doesn't require any typing at all. So that's the idea about making it frictionless, just not like removing all the additional burden and keeping the user focused on the key action that you want them to do. Here on this page is effectively the sign up. Another thing that you do, and I mentioned it very briefly, is to kind of, if you have many things that you want to ask the user to do, you can kind of spread it over different screens. So like if you have email and password, you can first ask only for email and then add a password, so that there is not much burden on a user and they don't see this huge form that they need to fill in order to sign up to your app. And
Yeah,
the
they won't be
other
scared.
part, yeah, and the other part that you see on this side, where we talk about that it's a number one noise cancellation app and trusted by professionals from different companies. These are important points where you kind of um, talk about the value and add to the motivation to really take the action, right? Because at every step you have to make sure that the motivations of the users are at the top, so that they'll make the action. So adding testimonials and references and additional motivation for the user is important. That's kind of what we try to do there.
Yeah, and I think you succeeded because this sign up form has like a simple design and an easy to read microcopy highlighting the benefits of signing up. Um, Mario, would you like to share your perspective on this?
Yeah, maybe I'll share a couple of things that I've tested multiple variations of sign up forms. Um, and funny enough, um, we we didn't see any bumps in conversion rates by adding customer logos or by adding value proposition details. It it didn't move the needle at all. Um, what what did move the needle was something that is also not here, was asking for consent of people. Consent, like, do you agree to receive marketing messages? Do you agree? You know, and then in Europe, there's the GDPR thing. So in some cases, you'll find that sign up forms also have like one or two, sometimes three checkboxes asking people for consent, subscribe to their newsletter, and so on and so forth. So we did get some of that. We did get improvements in the conversion rate to sign up because we removed those. Anyway, other than that, I agree with what was said in this particular case. Just make it as simple as possible. Now, there's the other side of the coin. I mostly work with B2B companies, and it's sometimes important to consider what SSO services you provide, and use those that are relevant to your user base. I love what Krisp did there of offering 1.5 times more free minutes to try and motivate users to use their work email, which obviously it's more interesting to them, so they can understand who's relevant, who's not, and then rewarding them instead of blocking them to proceed. When I saw this the first time, I immediately added my work email. I actually created a new account with my work email just to get a little bit more of those free minutes. So I'm not sure, I'm not an example probably of everybody, but I'm actually curious if you saw an uptick in the number of work emails after launching this, if you can share that.
Yeah, sure. Just one note about consent. We do have it, but it is kind of a note underneath that by signing up you agree. I think this is not visible on this screenshot, but yeah, I agree about that. Regarding the work email, yes, it is very useful for us to know, because Krisp eventually it is used by teams, and we do want to know. And the way Krisp grew is that somebody in a company is using it and then shares, and it grows kind of with a word of mouth, and the entire company then upgrades to a team plan or like business enterprise, etc. So it was important for us to have the work email. Um, we do see an increase in the signups with work email when we experimented with this, although we also saw some sort of fraud, because every day there are popping up this new temporary email services that provide you one-time kind of disposable email that the users use to sign up, and not all the algorithms are up to date with all the latest and greatest temporary email solutions. So this creates some sort of a fraud there. But overall, the value that we get from having the work email and the ability to see and utilize this bottoms up motion is worth it.
Good. There's also a question on the chat about email checking and how to do it. We can address it now or later, but I'll leave Luzine to moderate this. Just wanted to highlight.
Yeah, if you want, you can cover this question. Yeah.
So about email checking, there are two types of email checking. I'm not sure what Artem is referring to. There's sometimes in forms you see people type your email again. That's completely unnecessary, in my humble opinion. That just adds to more effort from users. The other type of email verification is sort of the confirmation that that email belongs to you. And in some services, it's absolutely required. Like, for example, if you can think of a company that I've worked for, Software.io, they build applications. And those applications can send email to people. So you really need to make sure that the users own that email to avoid people for creating applications for phishing and just unintended and potential harmful use cases. So there are multiple ways to do it. You could the one I like the most is the way Notion does it. I've been a Notion user for a long time, and I don't know my password. I never needed my password. It just sends me a code to my email every now and then when I sign up from a different device, and that's that. They don't even ask you for a password. In doing so, they're validating my email implicitly, and that's a good one. The idea of having an explicit validation, like you send them an email and say, "Hey, activate your account, click here," also doesn't bother me too much. Again, I work mostly with B2B. Doesn't bother me too much, because if a user is not willing to confirm their email address, how committed is this user to actually try your product? So I don't agonize too much about this particular step. I would just leave it.
Yeah,
I
I
can
think. Mhm.
I can add to that because we at Krisp use the exact same uh, login mechanism that you mentioned, Marriott, with the sign-in code, one-time use code, and we also don't have passwords, and that has all the benefits that you've mentioned. But one thing that I can share that what we learned, it has its drawbacks as well. For example, it shows itself when you want to build a flow with changing the email, for example, right? Like, for example, you were working at a company, now you want to switch it to your personal email, for example. And then the flow becomes kind of difficult because the first you have to confirm that this old email belongs to you and send the code and validate it and then send the code to the new email. So there are kind of many steps to it. But for a typical case of signing up and signing in and not having to remember passwords or relying on these password managers that are getting hacked quite frequently, like LastPass did, is a good way to do it.
Yeah, good stuff. Yeah, I see another question from Sylvia. I almost bet I have 75% certainty that she's Portuguese or Brazilian by reading her name. She asks if we do actually add other questions to the sign up and whatnot. My Yeah, I answered first in the last one. So do any one of you want to take this one? She's asking, should we ask more questions and what's the
I
trade-off
think
of getting more
I think
information?
we can cover this question when we talk about personalization.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, for making the sign up frictionless, Crisp's example cannot be applied to any SaaS product. However, there may be like some specific use cases where adding some friction to the sign up process could be beneficial for the company. For example, fintech or high security software companies may require additional verification steps during the sign up process to ensure that users are who they say they are. So this can help to prevent fraud and ensure that the company's products are being used by legitimate customers. We can move on to the second slide, which is providing a compelling quick win. So let's take Canvas example. It allows users to create various designs without requiring email or any data, enabling them to see the product's value immediately. So what do you think about this? What are your thoughts?
I can share. I really love from this perspective, as we look at it, I really love the Duolingo example. Can you hear me? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I love the Duolingo example because that's something that Duolingo did as well. Like you when you go to their page, they don't say they don't even mention sign up. They say like start learning, right? And then you go complete a lesson. You see the value, and you even complete the lesson. You have success. You're successful in your completion, and you feel excited, and that's where you say so you're excited, you want to keep your progress, you don't want to lose it. Now you have to sign up, right? And I think Canva is doing something similar to that. And the way I see it, the core to it is that they tie a very tangible value to the sign up action, because now sign up is not just sign up, but sign up to save your progress, to save your design, to save your achievement or something. And by the time they're prompting you to sign up, you've already experienced the value. You know why you're signing up, you know what's behind it, and you know the value that you're going to get more of if you sign up. So I think for it surely won't work for all the products. It depends on the specifics, or if you're able to showcase the value of the product without requiring the users to sign up. But I think if you're able to, that's a really super powerful thing. So, and TikTok works like that similarly as well. You download it, you open it up, and immediately in your face there is video, and you see what kind of thing is there, so you're more motivated to sign up and continue using the product. It's a very powerful tactic, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with you. Let's hear Mario's thoughts on that.
Yeah, it's been a while since Andrew Capland, one of the most vocal people, at least that I know of, talking about this. He he's I don't know his exact words, but his take on this is that we should provide, or at least experiment with, offering the access to product without sign up. Um, and then not everyone has the possibility to do this, because some products are more complex than others. But definitely, if you can, try it. For more complex products, there are other ways of doing this. It could be that you have a demo, an interactive demo. It could be that you have a video. I'm still surprised how many companies uh, don't have enough screenshots or videos of their products on the website, which is, and the product is completely locked behind a sign up. And so there are more there are things that every company can do. There are things that only some companies can do, like Canva or others. But definitely, I definitely like the idea of experimenting with these things.
Yeah, thanks, Mario. Let's see if we have any questions regarding this on the chat.
There's a question from Rafael, which I know personally. Hey, Rafael, how are you doing? Related with asking phone number instead of email. Coincidentally, I spotted that as well. I'll give you my answer to this is you do whatever works, right? If you try that, it works for you, then you do it. I don't think there is a one size fits all solution for this. If you have the volume, like maybe 1,000 signups per month, just test it. If you don't, just test it either way. You don't need to A/B test, but you can test like 1 week, try something, next week try, and then compare. It's not going to be it's going to be like scientifically accurate, but you'll learn for sure. So that's my take on that one there.
Thank you, Maria. Let's move to the next slide. And okay, I can see Tara is asking, is Canva capturing the user information in some other way? And our next slide covers this question about personalizing the onboarding experience. So here I mentioned, this is also Canva's example, but here I mentioned three important points, starting with a micro survey, segmenting users by behavior or use case, and engaging users outside your app with personalized emails, which can re-engage inactive users. Actually, by sending personalized emails, you can remind inactive users of the value of your product or service and encourage them to start using it again. This can help to re-engage users who may have forgotten about your app or stopped using it for some reason. So for the personalizing the experience, yes, the answer is yes. Canva is using other methods. Let's just a second. Okay, maybe we can hear from Karapet regarding this because we have seen Krisp's sign up page that requires only an email. Now you can tell us if you somehow personalize the onboarding experience after by collecting more data from your users.
I think personalization really depends on the product and the use cases, right? It's the word itself says it's personalized, right? It's personalized to the product, it's personalized to the use cases. So in case of Crisp, it's a noise cancellation app, and it's like for every meeting, be it business meeting, webinar, or whatever, right? It should be without noise. We do have the setup flow where we ask like what is the conferencing app that you're using, so we help them set it up for them correctly. But this is not personalization, this is more like helping with the setup. uh, in case of if you think about personalization more like segmenting and understanding where your users are coming from, then this is where this startup surveys are really important, because in marketing it is really difficult to do the attribution really correctly and know where your leads are actually coming from, right? Especially that is the case if your product is uh, based on word of mouth. The growth of the product is based word of mouth. It's really difficult to attribute to the correct source. So just asking very quickly, hey, how did you hear about us? Will go a long way about understanding the performance of the marketing channels. And the other thing that I could add to this is one very actionable way that you can personalize your onboarding experience or the product is with templates. So we've seen many great products use this approach. So the product itself is generic, right? But you use templates to kind of personalize to the specific niche, to the specific user persona that came there to use it. Like for Notion, we used it as an example before, right? If you say like, hey, I'm a, I don't know, a product manager, then it will show you the templates for PRDs or something, and same for the other things. Loom is using the same, like, hey, where are you from? And depending on that, it shows you some tips and tricks about how to use Loom for your specific use case. There is another thing that I know some companies do, but I'm not sure about how good or acceptable it is from the probably ethical or data use perspective. You might Some companies use these third-party data enrichment services, so that when you log in, they use those services to understand who you are based on your email, and then personalize your onboarding experience based on that. Like, for example, they learn that you're a growth expert and show you growth templates immediately without a click, kind of automagically, right? That's also a way to personalize the onboarding experience, although this deals with data sharing and somewhat tricky from the privacy perspective. But overall, the more personalized the experience, the better, and the more at home the users will feel.
Yeah, I agree. How do you think about this, Mario? How important it is to personalize the user onboarding experience?
So I like to think about the ultimate goal of the whole journey, and the ultimate goal of the whole journey is to get users to experience the value of the product as quickly as possible, and not just as quickly as possible, but as effectively and as quickly as possible. So so in some cases you may want to personalize. In some cases it may not make sense. I I'm just bringing the contrarian kind of opinion. just because I've been in a position where an executive or a manager came in and said, we need to personalize the entire website journey, and they didn't even know what they were talking about. And so don't I would recommend um, having the ultimate goal, in mind, and before starting to apply a solution with um, before starting to apply any solution, really, it applies to personalization or whatnot. One of the things that you'll hear against asking a bunch of questions, which is what bullet number one is that your dropout rates will go down. In fact, as long as you keep the questions relevant, as long as you keep the experience, the questions relevant to the experience, then users will gladly answer all the questions. And I'll post in a little bit a LinkedIn post from Elena Varna. I'll paste it on the comments where she actually talks about it, also more from the B2B perspective, which is where I think majority of our focus is. One example that you can check out is Software.io as well. When I was there, worked with the team on this one, and it is one of the best performing onboarding experiences I have ever seen. From sign up to answering all the questions, and they are asking like 6 or 7 questions, and the survival rate of users is close to 100%. And so this information is later used for the company to improve the product. So like I think 2 questions are about things that software needs to know to improve their processes, to know where leads come from and whatnot. But the biggest chunk of questions are questions that are used later to help users succeed in a better way. So yeah, uh, I'll leave this at that so that I don't ramble too much. Happy to answer any follow-up questions there on the chat, and I'll look for that post from Elena.
Yeah, asking relevant questions is the key here. I remember once I wanted to get a medical checkup, and I wanted to get my appointment online, and they asked me so many questions that I was like, I'll just call ambulance. I don't need this. So this is really important. Okay. If you don't have anything to add here, let's move to the next one. Educating users with interactive guides. So yeah, in general, interactive guides can help users understand how to use your product quickly and efficiently, reducing any confusion or frustration they may experience. And making them reusable can increase user engagement because they provide a consistent onboarding experience for new users and serve as a helpful reference for existing customers. What do you think about the interactive walkthroughs and the guides in general?
You want me to go, or
Yeah.
I can start this time? So
Go
the
ahead.
this yeah, so this is a tool, right? It's something that can definitely have results, and we've all have gone through products where these little things will help us. Um, the I've seen good results as far as conversion rates are concerned, or survival rates are concerned, by applying these. The the I think that the the higher impact uh, tactics are actually before using these. You don't want your product to look like a Christmas tree of pop-ups and arrows and whatnot. Just do the exercise. So the way I like to apply these is looking at a page or a set of pages or a user journey and think, what can I remove from here? What is that? What is not relevant at this stage? What is not adding value? Like, again, going back to friction, remove all of that. Um, and then and then reassess the points where people are struggling and fix those, or try to fix those with these things. Sometimes you do that because the solution to a problem is too complex and you want to have impact quickly, and you just add a guide or whatever. But yeah, be mindful of the, I guess, Christmas tree effect. I love Christmas trees, don't get me wrong, but products as Christmas trees, then that's a different thing.
Yeah, I think I agree in my. I really don't like those, to be very open. I do understand this, that sometimes they're necessary, and they're the only way to kind of educate users and tell them what's going on or how to use the product. But if we're talking about a good onboarding experience, I think. I think the best onboarding is when the product educates itself. Not, you don't need those Christmas trees that Mario was talking about, right? And I think of them more like a distraction or friction towards the end goal. If the product is designed well and the onboarding is thought out well, you don't need those things. And you only need them in those edge cases where there is your product is so complex, or this use case is so complex, or this button is doing so specific kind of a thing that there is no way. You just have to stop the experience, put a pop-up and interrupt the flow and direct the user's attention to it. A good way to do it, like for example, how the to-do list apps are doing it. They're integrating this training into the app experience itself. Like for example, you open it up, you create an account, and there is already a task that is called "I am a task, mark me complete," right? And then you learn how to use the product by actually using the product, and not by dismissing some product tour, etc. I think that's the right way to onboard the users, when the product onboards themselves and they use the product directly. But surely sometimes, and for some products, for some use case, those things are inevitable. You should just try to minimize them, I guess.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, that's true. And yeah, our next tip is using checklists, as you can see. So creating a well-designed checklist can ensure fewer users drop off in our experience. And I will show you a case study afterwards. One of our clients, Get Social, which is a social media management platform, tripled their conversion rate with a checklist. So how they do it, they just keep their task to a minimum to not scare their users away and overcomplicate their product. Let me show you. Yeah. Get Social, yeah, as you can see, they implemented checklist and they tripled their conversion rates. Do you, I think, yeah, I haven't seen a checklist on Krisp, but what is your perspective on this, Karapet?
Checklist as an onboarding tool, right?
As a part of onboarding, yeah.
Yeah, well, at first, I think we need to understand what an onboarding is, right? A good framework to think about onboarding is in 3 stages, right? The first is this setup moment, that is to take the user through everything that is needed to be ready to experience the value of the product, right? For example, you have to create an account to experience the value. That's the setup moment. But if you've set up, that's not enough, right? You also have to experience the value itself. That is the aha moment, like where you experience the value for the first time and like, this thing works. This thing delivers on a promise. This thing that delivers the value, and it seems to be interesting, right? That's the aha moment. And then there is the third part of the onboarding, that is the habit moment. That is making sure that users, once they experience the first time this aha, then they keep coming back to experience this aha moment again and again and again, so that they come into this, so that they're retained and they become the regular users of your product. Uh, all of these things take time. The habit building, the showing of value, and setting this up takes time. So I think of checklist as a sort of tool that helps the users not forget what they have to do in order to experience the value and continue experiencing the value over time, so they build the habit and become retained users, right?
Yeah,
It's not
they will
just
be just
one.
guided on what to do to achieve the value that they need to achieve
Exactly.
from your
Exactly. And
product.
they and I view checklist as kind of the tool to prompt them, to push them, if you will, towards doing that and to experiencing the value. It's being onboarded is not only to set up an account, like sign up, right? Sign up is just the first step. Uh, but being really onboarded is to be taken through the habit formation. And checklists are great because people hate when not everything is checked, right? And they want to do it so that they'll have everything complete. It gives the feeling of accomplishment, feeling of reward, and also doesn't, if your onboarding is too long or the setup, there are many steps that are required to do, it adds some sort of achievement or reward on this long path, so that users stay motivated on their journey and don't give up, because your goal is to take them through the entire journey, make them experience the value, and have them keep coming back for it.
Yeah. It has also this psychological trick. When you see this progress bar, you want to like accomplish this. Like, let me tick this off, then tick this off. What do you think about that, Mario?
It, my experience, I'll share a very short example. I think enough has been
Mhm.
said. Um, what I've seen is that there are users that like it and interact with it. There are users that don't. And for users that interact with it, then look at that cohort and see how they perform. But there are users that simply don't like checklists. I've seen this in multiple user tests and also looking at session recordings. And you'll always have I think you'll always, in my experience, I've always seen these two groups of users, and so I wouldn't assume that by putting in a checklist you'll have impact across the entire cohort of users. And there's some funny things going on with the sharing. I think we're good. Yeah, but
Yeah, I think it's
that's
from
how I
my
look at it.
side. Sorry for that.
No worries. It makes it more real. It's not like we have pre-recorded sessions here.
Thank you for sharing your insights. Okay, as we are running out of time, we need to move a bit faster. So, using contextual onboarding to stay relevant, I think it's going to be similar to the interactive walkthroughs. And here I have the example of Loom. And in this example, some users might not be familiar with the symbol used, for example, this recording symbol. But adding a tooltip with like a short tooltip will save them from trial and error, maybe. What do you think of this use case, for example?
That's Loom that we're seeing there.
Yep.
Looks like Asana to me.
Yeah, that was like, yeah, they do. They do. Loom does this amazing thing, which is when you install their extension, they sort of embed themselves in all the tools like Jira, Asana, and all that. So it is. I think it's a good way to show that something exists that might have been missed by someone, and I found I found this useful as a user. I don't have statistics or numbers to share whether or not this works, but I would definitely um, definitely try it out if you're trying to incentivize the use of a feature. Um, do This is a good test. This could help you understand if users are missing the feature, like they don't see it. Uh, and maybe run a small test to understand whether or not that's the case, and then if that's the case and if that works, yeah, just do it.
Yeah, it's like contextual onboarding is like showing the right message to the right person at the right time. Somehow, yeah. And for example, I can give you an example. A user starts using feature B before feature A. They'll go through feature B's onboarding flow first. So that said, it adapts to each individual user.
Yeah. If I may add a couple of words here, I think this is, we shouldn't think of onboarding as something that happens only at the start of using the product, right? Because products are
Yeah.
living organisms. They grow and evolve. Like software is never done. We keep adding things to it and keep improving it, adding more features, etc. So when you add one new feature, there is this important metric that you need to track. That is the adoption of this feature. Like how many people discovered within your target audience for that particular feature, right? How many people discovered that it exists and how many tried it at least once to see the value. It's a mini onboarding within the product when you add a new feature. So within that context, I think this is great for educating the existing users that, hey, this we added these new things, why don't you check it out? So that it helps them discover the new functionality and drive feature adoption, which is a crucial part of product experience. But I don't think the thing to look out for is to not put everything in the first experience, right? So that you're
Yeah.
not bombarded with everything, but to disclose them progressively as you add features or as users get more acquainted with it.
Yeah. And that also covered our next tip, which was using tooltips to drive secondary feature discovery and adoption, of course, because tooltips, as you said, yeah, they can be a great way to introduce secondary features or more advanced feature or new feature and encourage adoption. And but however, it's important to design them carefully to ensure they are effective, because when creating a tooltip, it's important to use a simple design and catchy wording that quickly captures the user's attention. And it's important to avoid cluttering the UI with too many tooltips. Too many tooltips, because they can be overwhelming and confusing for users. Because that's why you should only include tooltips for the most important or useful secondary features or the new feature that you launched, and make sure they are easy to spot and read.
Sense.
Yeah, go ahead, Mario. You were saying something?
I was agreeing. Makes sense.
Perfect. So the next one is signing up for your own product every week. I want to share a story here. So a few months ago, I had an onboarding audit with a SaaS company. I don't want to mention the name. And so they asked me to share my feedback on each step of their new user onboarding, because for 1 week they didn't have any trial signups, which was very weird for them because they were getting 20 signups per day. So I entered my email when I was doing the onboarding audit. I entered my email to sign up, and I was supposed to receive a verification email, which never happened. So no email has been sent to me. And when I was trying to sign up again, I was receiving the error that my email already exists, but I couldn't log in. So I thought maybe I should like recover my password, change my password somehow. And when I tried to log in, it said like, "Oh, your email doesn't exist." And so can you imagine like this caused how many signups they could get in that week that they didn't. So during this simple procedure of signing up their product, we discovered that there is an error that the users are dropping off during the sign up and the first step of the sign up. So it's very important thing. Are you doing this on Krisp?
You know, I'm thinking of it. It's the problem is twofold, right? First, there is the technical problem of having confidence in that your tech works, that the emails are being sent and received, that the buttons are clickable, and all of that, right? So I think things like that are solved through engineering best practices. I don't know, putting up hooks or having crash reporting of sorts, or having a very responsive and proactive support team that can identify that, hey, like sounds like too many users are complaining about this, right? So that's how to that's how to address the technical issues, right? Support and engineering, reporting and alerting systems. The second one is the experience itself, right? Everything might be working, but it might not be understandable. And that's where I think doing this exercise would help. One interesting tip that I could share, maybe somebody on an audience would find useful. Sometimes it's difficult to find or create new emails for signing up, right? It becomes a hassle, but Google has this nice feature that if you add plus after your username and write anything and then add Gmail, it kind of it sends everything to your core email. So if your email is like karapet@gmail.com, you can sign in with karapet plus test@gmail.com, and the emails will still go to your karapet@gmail.com email. And this is a useful feature for testing things like that. You can create infinite number of sign up emails and kind of test it without actually creating new emails. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, thanks, Karapet. Thank you for sharing the tip. Mario,
Yeah,
did you experience something similar?
yeah, I would highly recommend signing up for your product. I'm not sure if it's every week, every 2 weeks, but yeah, signing up for your product. I would even go a little bit further. Um, run run user tests. I'll share a link here for my favorite tool to recruit users. It's fairly cheap, or yeah, it's fairly cheap to execute. But get users to go through your product. Users in your target audience, get them to go through your product, share their thoughts out loud, and you'll learn so much. You'll find bugs, for sure, but you'll also find how they perceive the copywriting that you put in there, the what you're trying to ask them to do, how easy, how hard, etc. This is the more manual and my favorite one to use. If you use tools like Hotjar or Lucky Orange, you can also do session recordings and find rage clicks and whatnot. But definitely keep an eye on these things. Um, for critical things like sign up is not working, emails are going to spam and whatnot. Yes, it's an engineering problem, but sometimes it happens and no one notices it. I once did a test, which was, I asked a question. I just joined the company and asked this question: uh, who's answering the replies that are sent to the email confirmation email. Like we were sending, hey, please activate your account, and it was coming from yada 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 at company.com, and I noticed that the email sounded like it looked like an email that people could respond to, like support at whatever. And I asked, who's answering? And the answer was, oh, no one's answering. Like, it's really hard to have a test, like an engineering test here. No one was answering. And I asked, can I get access to the mailbox? He said, yes, I'll give you access to the mailbox. And then my next 2 days was answering all emails that landed on that account. It were like 250 emails. And I answered them all. And I was really frustrated and sad that some have been there for weeks. And I had to write those like long apologies, like long due apologies to those users. So these things, and yes, I did answer all those 250 manually and personalized. That's called eating broccoli, and you do that for your users when you have to. And I learned quite a lot because users were struggling with a bunch of stuff. And yeah, obviously in the process, I was kind of clustering the patterns and whatnot. But absolutely agree with this. I
That's
do see more
impressive.
value in using. I do see more value in using user brain with new users, just because I think the insights are much bigger. Like people that don't know you, people on your target audience, they don't know you. Try your product, and then you learn a bunch. Happy to share more if anybody wants to learn a bit how to implement these. Shouldn't take more than like an hour or so to get one of these running.
Thank you, Mario. And what is your perspective about micro videos? I have seen this study by HubSpot that using video tutorials in onboarding can lead actually to 55% increase in user engagement. What do you think about this point?
Do you want to go?
Yeah, like we do use videos in onboarding, at least in a first version of it. We found that videos, especially for our setup flow, when you have to go and tell users to do some specific things in other apps, we found that videos work quite well for explaining and like sharing what needs to be done. And we use them a lot in our onboarding, and they worked well. Yeah, I think videos are good. From our, we use them, and they work.
Someone is asking about the length of the videos, and I'll keep it at that. What is the right length of the videos? Just do something, right? Just put a video out there, and then YouTube, if you post it on YouTube, has this nice little statistics that tells you how many users drop at each point of the video, and you'll by testing this, you'll figure out what's the right length of the video. I tend to prefer short videos than longer ones. And if it's like very task oriented, like how do you activate your, my Krisp background here? If there's a video for that, I want it to be for a simple task like this, which is like 2 clicks. I want that video to be like 5 seconds or 10 seconds or 20 seconds at most. So yeah, but definitely look at the video analytics. When I ask this to the companies I advise, have you looked at the statistics on YouTube about the onboarding video X? The answer I get is, oh, can you actually do that? So many people don't know that is there for you to use. Video recording tool, someone is asking. I shared ProductLed.stack. There's many there, but Loom is a good one if you want to get started quickly. Loom is a good one.
Thanks, Mario.
Loom is great.
So the last tip is providing in-app support, which is also a very important thing because providing in-app support allows your users to get help right away, and this can prevent frustration and help users feel more comfortable with your application. And I also want to share another case study here. Growth Mentor, which is one of our customers, reduced their support tickets by 83% after implementing onboarding checklists and resource center. So it's impressive results, and they also saved lots of money on tickets because, according to Informatech study, each ticket resolution costs by its levels. Like level 2 ticket costs $91. So imagine 83% of that. Yeah, that's a lot of savings. What's your
There's
perspective on? Yeah.
sorry, I'm so passionate about this that I jumped in when interrupting you. Apologies for that. Um, there's I know that after I say what I'm going to say, people are going to go, oh, but what if we get too many support tickets? What if we get too many chats? Can we answer those? How long it will take? We need a team, and so on. Um, there are teams out there that do tremendous work supporting users via chat. One of the best teams in the world doing this, in my humble opinion, and I am biased, I work there, but you just go ahead and try Software.io and ask something to their support team, and you'll see that they will answer any question within a few minutes. Very, very to the point. They will unblock any free or paid user that has a problem. And this has generated to them not only they're learning how to improve the product, they're learning the friction points and whatnot, so they learn a lot with that. It also creates a bunch of word of mouth for them. Just go on g2.com and see the effect of this. It's sort of an inside story of software. The support is so good that it has become a competitive advantage against other tools, and people talk about it. And this support team has a mission. Support team has a mission of enabling users to be successful, but also creating a better product. And it's just an amazing mission to have. Like they are responsible for the product to become better because they take their insights, give the insights to the product team. The product team improves the product, and what a wonderful loop you have going on here. So absolutely love this. I've ran I've ran a chat support team as a prototype in the past, not at software, at another company, and I was using intercom at the time. No pun intended. Um, and I was using intercom at the time, and people were chatting with me, and I was doing this almost 24 hours a day for 1 or 2 weeks, and I used to play tennis, and then I would tell my coach, hey, I need to stop for 5 minutes because there's a customer asking a question. And I would take my phone, answer the question, and carry on. And we got a bunch of good vibe from it. Then it became something big. But first we tested it. First we ate the broccoli. We did it ourselves, and then we went to the people with the money to get more people in the team and said, hey, you do this, you get that. I'll give you another tip. Not many companies are answering support tickets on Sunday and or Saturday. We did the test at the time, and we were converting leads on Saturday and Sunday because no other competitor were answering the busy professionals that were testing your product on a weekend. This will probably not work for low priced products. But anyway, I hope this helps.
Yeah, I'm coming from support too, so I completely feel you. And we were providing 24/7 support as well for those companies who like don't have the team to provide 24/7 support. They can do outsource support. We were doing outsource support. It's not that efficient because they still don't know the product completely. They always need some trainings and stuff, the outsource team, but it's still efficient that when a customer needs a help or they have an issue, they can write to somebody and somebody will answer them, even if that answer is like, can you wait a minute so I can check that for you? And they can go for 2 hours. That was my experience with the outsourcing. But yeah, it is definitely very important to have a good support team.
Yeah, I think we think of support as not as another team that's doing their thing, but we think of support as a product feature. And when you think of it this way, it really like helps align everybody and also sets the priorities right. That support is a product feature, and so it is embedded into the product. And as the button, for example, helps you do something, if the button doesn't work, then support helps you do something, and it all rounds up as a end-to-end coherent experience that delivers value.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see if we have any questions here that we didn't cover.
I have been trying to answer all of them, so I don't think you do, but happy to answer if people want to
Perfect.
follow up on LinkedIn or something. I'll drop my email here as well.
Yes, please. So, yeah, before we close, I want to extend a special thank you to Karapet and Mario. Thanks a lot for taking the time to joining me today. We couldn't have done this without you. So, thank you for sharing your knowledge
Thank
and
you.
being here
Keep
today.
keep pushing. You have a great product. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you for the invitation. I enjoyed it a lot, and I'm happy to stay connected on LinkedIn and answer any additional questions if any.
We hope to have you back for future events too. So, thanks a lot for being here. Yeah, and with that, we come to the end of today's webinar. Once again, thank you to everyone who attended, and we hope to see you again soon. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Cheers.